What's happening, guys? It's Supalaka2 here, and I wanted to try out something a little different this time around, so this is my live commentary over my gameplay. I'm just gonna have the gameplay rolling on in the background while I talk about the Dynamo buff that we got in the most recent balance patch last week. So yeah, I say buff, but in all honesty, it really feels like two big buffs to me. So I guess I'll cover the first thing that people are kind of iffy about, and that's the paint of the weapon. And I was a bit iffy on it at first as well. I mean, you can even go and see my live reaction to the buff when the patch dropped. But after playing the weapon for, well, a week now, I have to say, the paint buff is actually a lot more substantial than I think people are giving it credit for, and that's mainly because of two reasons, I think. So one of the main complaints that people are having about it is that when the Dynamo swing paints the ground, you'll notice that there's more of a gap in front of you than it is at the very maximum range of the Dynamo swing. But you also notice that because of that, the paint is more consistent overall. There's less splotches everywhere, and so when you do one swing, it looks bad, but when you're playing in an actual game and you're just swinging over and over and over, you know, it adds up. It adds up considerably. I've noticed that when I've been playing zones specifically, I've been able to cap the zone a lot more easily compared to any attempts I've made before the patch. It definitely feels like a better painter overall, even if, you know, it's not exactly what people were hoping for. And I think what this weapon would need in order to really bolster its painting ability would be just a small 3% ink drop buff, similar to what the gold arrow spray got in the most recent patch. So yeah, something along those lines I think would really go a long way for the weapon. And yeah, I'd say the paint buff part of it is satisfactory, but I think what really steals the show here is the change to its hitbox. So from my understanding, what I've heard from other Dynamo players is that what they essentially did was they reverted Dynamo's hitbox back to before a nerf that took place in Splatoon 2, where the hitbox in the middle was kind of shifted forward, so there would be an obvious blind spot in the swing, which ended up creating this sort of donut shape, and that also applied to its paint as well, which is why the paint was so awful before. But I don't know why they decided to do that, especially in Splatoon 2. I think Dynamo already paid for its crimes in the first game, but I guess not. But, you know, hitbox is back now, and let me just say, I mean, you could probably just watch the gameplay right now. It's so substantial. The weapon feels so much more consistent now than it was before. It combos a lot easier into other weapons, even more so than it used to. I've been getting a lot more kills for people that are just literally straight in front of me. You have no idea how many times I would play this weapon, have someone literally be directly in my face, I swing, and then for some reason they get hit with 60 damage or 80 damage hitbox, and then I pay for it essentially, even though I made the right call to, you know, attack them. But you know, that's gone now. So if someone's right in front of you, they are most likely going to die. And it's just been so much nicer to have that actually be applied to the weapon, because you know it's a dynamo roller. Like it's a big heavyweight. Like you'd expect it to hit hard, but in like previous like patches and just throughout the game's lifespan, it just kind of hit like a wet noodle most of the time. And so it just really makes the weapon a lot more easier to play, and just it feels nicer as well. It just feels like a completely new beast, essentially. Like, this is now a weapon that you'll have to actually respect, I feel, when you're in a game. Because more often than not, players will see a Dynamo, or at least they used to see a Dynamo, and it's like, okay, it'll paint a bit. It's got a big hitbox, but you know, it's slow, so you can just kind of run up on it and take it out. And even then, if it happens to be in the middle of its swing and be ready to get you, you know, you might just be lucky and get hit with like the very low damage hitboxes and just kind of get away with, you know, murder essentially. But yeah, you won't have to deal with that anymore. It's a weapon that you'll probably have to definitely keep your eyes out for, especially if it's teamed up with a lot of other mid-range threats like Stamper, Squeezer, Slosher, just anything that can do like roughly, I'd say, 40 damage. You gotta be wary of, because if you get attacked by like anything that's like remotely, even like 35 damage, I feel, either 30 or 35 damage is all like Dynamo really needs to like just fully take out someone from like almost all ranges of its maximum range. So yeah, it's a better team player. It's more self-efficient now. It's just honestly everything I really wanted Dynamo to be and just kind of live up to, like it did in the Splatoon 1 days. Now, I will say, like, the weapon isn't like fully like completely there. Like, there are definitely some things they could like adjust, like ink efficiency, like I said before, increasing its pain output just like by a little bit, not too much. It just needs like a little nudge more, and I think it'll be in a good spot. But with that being said, if this was the last Dynamo buff we were ever to get in this game, I'd be okay with it. Like, being completely honest, because they fixed the one issue that I truly had with this weapon, and that was its damage consistency. And now I don't really have to worry about that anymore. So anytime I miss a swing or I hit someone and they just so happen to, you know, not die and take me out, more often than not, that'll usually be on me as a player. Like, that'll be my own error. Like, I didn't properly position my swing to where it got like the middle hitbox and whatnot. They just got hit by the very like sides of it, which also applies to the other rollers as well. So it's just nice to, you know, if I make a mistake, then I know it's my mistake and it's not just, you know, the weapon failing on me essentially, you know. And it helps me adjust as a player and improve a lot more, and it just makes the whole process a lot more fun as well, you know. So yeah, all that being said, I think the Dynamo buff was so much better than people are gonna give it credit for. Maybe we'll see people start to pick it up more in like higher to top level play, but you know, for me, as just like a solo queue player who plays more like a lot of series and X rank, I just wanted the weapon to be more like self-efficient, and I got that on top of also being a much better support as well. So I'm so happy about this buff. Like, it's just one sort of like on paper it's like one small like addition to the weapon, but it just changes the game completely. And it just feels so good to be a Dynamo main right now. I guess I can talk about the Gold Dynamo as well specifically, just because of the Super Chump buff. Now, I haven't been playing too much of Gold Dynamo lately, but from what I have played of it with the chumps, it definitely feels a lot better than it did before, because with the chumps detonating faster and landing faster now, it makes people kind of scramble more to either take them out or try to attack you if you try to use the chumps as sort of like essentially shields. And you can combo off the chumps a lot easier too, and with the increased or rather more consistent damage of the weapon, it just makes comboing into chumps a lot easier as well if they happen to take a hit from like one of them. So yeah, Dynamo is, I feel, in a really good spot now. It's in so much of a better state than it was before, and I'm gonna be pushing the weapon to the best of my ability. I'm gonna be playing it so much more now than I have before, just because of this one change. Like, it really reinvigorated me to play the weapon again after being sort of, I wouldn't say tired of it, but like, I guess burnt out would be the proper word, yeah. And just, you know, wishing, you know, that the weapon could do more, just like I said before, live up to the potential that I know it could, and I think it could finally get there now with this one buff. People already kind of eyeing Dynamo before after the increased damage range buff that he got like a couple patches ago, but I think people can, or people should rather, I feel, give some more consideration to this weapon, maybe in like certain maps or modes. It'll probably be mainly a Splat Zones niche, but even in tower control, it feels so much better to use in tower control, as you can probably have seen from the gameplay. Like, knocking someone off the tower actually feels like, it feels like how it used to, like back in Splatoon 2, I guess before the nerf. Like, it just truly feels like a competent weapon again. That's really all I can say about it. So yeah, in conclusion, I'd say that the Dynamo buff was really good, and I just can't wait to use this weapon a lot more in the future. Like, it is in such a good spot right now. If I were to sort of put this thing on a tier list, before most people would kind of consider like a C tier weapon. Now, at least for me, it definitely jumped up to like B plus. I could maybe like stretch it into A, but that might be a bit much. You know what, man, I don't care. I'm a Dynamo main. I'm gonna put it in A tier. The weapon just feels so good to use now. Like, it is a genuine threat if you ever come across a good Dynamo main on the opposing team, and it's definitely something that you'll have to be on the watch out for, I feel. So yeah, if you haven't given the weapon out a try, then I definitely recommend it now more than ever. Like, it really feels like the heavyweight that it was designed to be. And yeah, that being said, I think I'll end it there. So if you play Dynamo ever since the patch, let me know what your thoughts are on the buff and, you know, your experiences with it. And even if you haven't played Dynamo, like, just let me know how you guys feel about the patch in general, like with all the other weapons too, because there were some weapons that also got a lot of good buffs as well. I really want to make a video on the Recycle Umbrella, because that shield regen buff is actually it's quite the game changer for the weapon, and I definitely want to showcase that. So yeah, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Dynamo and just Splatoon 3 content in general. I might put out more videos like this because I just love talking about the game, you know, and just, you know, getting a just hearing other people's thoughts on how the game's developing as well, just seeing how things are going. So yeah, with that being said, I will catch you guys later. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and yeah, take care, y'all.